Memorial Day is a day we reflect and remember those who paid the ultimate sacrifice for our country. Our next guest served on the front lines with those who perished in battle. A West Point grad, U.S. Army veteran and Purple Heart recipient, Captain Sam Brown. Captain Sam Brown, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Steve. It's good to be here.
It's truly an honor to have you on with us today, Sam. I just want to start by thanking you for your service to our country on Memorial Day today. Sam, if you could walk us through your journey in the military, how it started, and what made you want to serve.
You know, my journey really started with my parents. I had a father who had grown up serving as well, multi-generational. In fact, my grandfather served on my mother's side, and so there was just a sort of a family culture of service to country in uniform, and so as a young man in a humble home, having an opportunity to go to a military academy was always a dream of mine, and I was able to realize that dream after 9/11. I was accepted 1 month later and began my journey at West Point in 2002 and graduated in 2006.
And Sam, you obviously served in combat in Afghanistan. Your service in the military came to an abrupt end. If you could walk us through that day.
It was a hot day in southern Afghanistan, in Kandahar. This was in 2008. I was an infantry platoon leader, and our mission there was to try and help build Afghanistan, to support a fledgling government, and to help the Afghans to be able to realize life independent of the Taliban. And so on the day that I was wounded, we were actually providing security in support of a mission that was to provide electricity through a dam on the Helmand River to southern Afghanistan and allow them to, just sort of develop and improve their lives. Unfortunately, the Taliban was ready for that convoy, for that mission, and they had an ambush set up and in place and attacked one of my classmates' platoons from West Point, and we were the closest American and friendly forces to them. And in our attempt to support them per their request, the Taliban had also set out an IED that ultimately struck my vehicle, and unfortunately, I lost one of my soldiers that day, and certainly remember him and his family, Private Vincent Winston, and the ultimate sacrifice that he made, and the lives that were changed as a result of that.
Sam, it's truly an inspiration of willpower and determination to see where you are right now. And to that point, Sam, you just kind of alluded to it, I think. What does Memorial Day mean to you?
Memorial Day is an opportunity for us to remember and to celebrate those who have come before us and sacrifice so that this country, the United States, can be the greatest country in the world and in history. And it didn't come easy. It didn't come free. It came at a heavy cost of lives and blood and tears and destroyed families. But it was done because people believed in what the United States is and what it can be. And as we look to our history and to our past and remember those lives and that sacrifice, we also need to look forward and remember and accept the challenge to honor that sacrifice and fighting to preserve the United States to continue to be the greatest country this world has ever known.
Sam, from one battlefield to the next, you're taking your fight to politics now. You're running for Senate in the state of Nevada. What are some of the issues that you find the people of Nevada are resonating with?
Nevadans are very concerned about the economy right now. This is something that Americans across the country are dealing with, the negative impacts of a federal government that has spent far too much and led to inflationary crisis, energy crisis, and that's hitting Nevada harder than most other states. But we also have issues that many other states in the West are dealing with water drought issues, And underlying all of this is a education system that is failing our children. And this is what Nevadans are most concerned about.
Captain Sam Brown, thank you so much for taking some time to join us today on Memorial Day, and most importantly, thank you for your service.
Thank you, Steve.
This Memorial Day, we hear the story of one of the first American paratroopers who was jumping out of airplanes even before the 101st Airborne was activated during World War II. NTD's Kerry Nunez has the story.
The son of Private William Summers tells us that his father was a teenager when Pearl Harbor was attacked.
And he felt that, it was his duty to save America, basically. His patriotism boiled up. And him and most of the boys in his high school class hopped on a train and went to Boston and tried to sign up for the Army.
But he was rejected due to his age.
So they actually rejected him 13 times. And finally, on the 13th time, I guess they got tired of him showing up every day, so they accepted him.
In 1942, no one was jumping out of planes. Summers joined an experimental parachute unit.
Yeah, he tells stories of things just happening that he didn't know, how it worked. First time he jumped, they basically just threw him out of the plane, and they only had 2 or 3 practices on landings, and it was quite the adventure.
Summers was dropped south of the target in German-occupied Tunisia, which was enemy territory. He was captured and then imprisoned in Italy. Summers escaped. Italian sympathizers helped him hide, but eventually the Germans found him.
But unfortunately, the Germans got word of this and came through and captured him and unfortunately shot the people that were holding him out.
He was put in Stalag II, a German prison camp where many starved to death. Eventually, Allied forces won the war. Now free, Summers chose to spend the rest of his life in his oceanside home. He was fortunate, as many soldiers fighting abroad did not make it home. There are countless stories of sacrifice. Here in Washington, D.C., the largest Memorial Day parade honors all those who lost their lives in service to the country. Kerry Nunez, NTD News, reporting from the nation's capital.
In the nation's capital, thousands of motorcyclists mark this year's Memorial Day by taking laps around the National Mall. Spectators reflected on the importance of the day and the issues facing America.
There's a lot going on in the United States right now, and we need to remember where we came from and who we are as a people.
As a veteran, we're recognizing that we want our freedoms for the country, for the people here in the country, but at the same time being proud. Is America a proud country anymore? Or you have people in the country that's not following what America was truly built upon.
The motorcycle rally known as Rolling to Remember has been going on for 30 years. The Rolling to Remember website says that the annual event demands action for 82,000 service members missing in action. It also brings awareness to suicide and other critical issues affecting the nation's veterans. Hundreds of flights were canceled this holiday weekend, impacting tens of thousands of travelers within the United States. By Monday, over 1,000 flights had been canceled. They include around 550 flights on Sunday and 380 flights on Monday. Delta Airlines canceled the most number of flights at about 250, which accounts for about 9% of its operations. The spokesperson for the airline said that weather and staffing are responsible. Increased COVID case rates caused higher than planned absences. Staffing shortages are expected to continue throughout the summer, while the number of travelers is expected to rise and even surpass pre-pandemic levels. The President and the First Lady visited Uvalde, Texas on Sunday, where they paid their respects to the victims who died in last week's tragic school shooting. President Biden and First Lady Jill Biden offered their support on Sunday in Uvalde, Texas. This where a gunman killed 19 students and 2 teachers last week. Meanwhile, the Justice Department announced on Sunday that it would review the law enforcement response. One witness says that he saw police open fire at the gunman before he entered the school.
And after that, the gunman fired at them. And the police were defending themselves. They're trying to avoid the bullets because he had a real heavy-duty artillery. You know, the gun was powerful. I could hear it.
Law enforcement allowed the shooter to remain in a classroom at Robb Elementary School for nearly 1 hour, while officers waited in the hallway and children inside made panicked 911 calls for assistance. The DOJ says the goal of its review is to provide an independent account of what happened, see what went wrong, and identify best practices to help first responders prepare for future active shooter events. And now bipartisan negotiations on possible gun legislation are underway. Lawmakers on Capitol Hill are looking for ways to find common ground. Both Republican and Democratic senators are looking for a compromise regarding gun laws. Democratic Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois says he's confident Congress will find a compromise.
I sense a different feeling among my colleagues after Uvalde.
Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger says he's open to the idea of banning certain guns.
Look, I have opposed a ban, fairly recently. I think I'm open to a ban now. It's going to depend what it looks like because there's a lot of nuances on.
But some key Republicans argue that these bans would have done nothing to stop the recent tragedies.
It is a matter of basic security. Taking guns away from these responsible Americans will not make them safer, nor will it make our nation more secure.
Possible changes include expansion of the federal gun background check, safe storage, and red flag laws. Lawmakers are also considering putting more resources toward mental health and school security. President Biden said on Monday that these changes are up to Congress.
I can't dictate this stuff. I can do the things I've done, and any executive action I can take, I'll continue to take. But I can't outlaw a weapon. I can't, change the background check. I can't do that.
Shares in popular gun manufacturers have jumped since the recent mass shooting. This suggests that investors are anticipating a rise in sales as customers rush to buy firearms before tighter gun rights legislation makes its way through Congress.